y'all, I am back from vacation. If you didn't see my last video, basically I was doing as much as I could to prepare to be away from my garden for 2 weeks in the middle of summer in Texas. So just doing a whole bunch of pruning, staking, getting things as good as I can because I was not going to be here in order to maintain any of this. So I just had the drip irrigation running the whole time. So I am back. I've not done anything to it except for 1 or 2 things, which I'll point out when we get there. But basically I'm just going to show you how things look now and what I need to do in order to get this back in order. So we'll start over on the left side over here. So if you remember, I had a Thai chili here, which is definitely dead now. I planted, I think this is like an okra, a backup okra, but honestly I'm not sure if I even want to keep it, so that might just be coming out as well. I can't remember if I planted anything over here, but if I did, it did not grow. So it got really hot while I was gone and things just didn't hold out if they weren't under the shade cloth. So this is where this is at. I may or may not keep this okra. Over here, this pepper is the Mad Hatter pepper. It's hanging in there. It needs to be tied to the stake better, and then these watermelon vines need to be taken out of it. But otherwise that's doing okay given that it's not in shade cloth. Here, I don't know if you remember, I had a really large watermelon in here and I didn't pick it because I didn't think it was ready, and either something ate it or it just decayed. I don't really know. That's what's left of it. So obviously that is coming out. I do still have, let me see, I have one new one right there that I may or may not keep, and then I had the one over here that I put in the raised bed before I left. This one's doing really good. It looks like something might have tried to eat it right here, but otherwise that's looking great. So I may or may not keep this as well. I'll get to that in a second. This is my other Mad Hatter pepper. It's really large. It's growing a lot of foliage, but not many like flowers or anything like that. So we'll see. I'm obviously just gonna leave it, but I'm not expecting a lot out of it. I might pull it and replace it with something better suited for the fall weather. We will see. And then we get to the okra. So if you can tell, I had the Clemson spineless. This was back here that I said I was just gonna let go to seed. And I don't know. What happened was it's like covered in mealybugs. Let me see if I can find a good example. Not really. Oh, here we go. So like this is the red burgundy, but this is essentially what all of the plants look like. And I kind of just rather get that out of my garden. So I think I'm going to pull all of the okra. I already have enough for the season anyways. And I still have more seeds, so I don't necessarily need to keep the seeds. So I think I'm going to pull all the okra, and then probably the gomphrena as well. It's looking okay, but you know, I don't know. I kind of just want to clean everything out for the most part, given that there are so many bugs in this bed. And then that brings me to the watermelon. So I have 2 watermelons. It's going to take a while for them to ripen, and I'm actually going to reconfigure this whole left side of the garden. So this long raised bed, I'm actually going to make into this configuration. So I'm going to add another trellis. This long raised bed is going to be the same as this front raised bed. And then I'm going to add another bed back here where the 2 small things are now. And then these are going to move over here. So in order to do all of that, I kind of need to pull most of what is in there right now, so I may or may not keep the watermelon. It might just be that I'm clearing this entire thing out and getting rid of all those bugs and just getting it set up and healthy for the fall. Moving on to the tomatoes. So these did okay. The issue that I had was that these a couple of these strings that I use as the trellis, actually something chewed them off up at the top. I went ahead and replaced those when I got home because I wanted to get those off of the ground as soon as possible, but that's why they've got some kind of like wonky growing patterns at the moment, because they were like on their side and growing upwards, and now they're upwards and growing every which way. So they're still alive except for this back left one. I don't know if maybe the drip emitters near it just didn't got clogged or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it's dried out and dead, so I'm gonna pull that for sure. Besides them falling over, I had a couple branches snap, like those are all over there. They look pretty okay. They're just kind of long and spindly, but I think that's a consequence of the weather. So I'm gonna keep those in. Maybe consider a different trellising method, given that, you know, one string broke and the whole plant toppled over. I'd rather not have that be a possibility in the future, so I might consider some other trellising methods, like the Florida weave or something like that. But anyways, that's what's going on in this bed. Back here, these look awesome. These were the let me see, on the left here is the Jacoby Little pumpkins, and then these were the daisy gourd squash. So these actually look really great. I even have a small, let's see, female flower there that's gonna open. So these are looking great. I haven't noticed any vine borer damage, which is what I thought would happen, because I had such an issue with those last year. So obviously these are growing like out and not up the trellis like I want them to. So they were too small to tie onto the trellis when I left. So I will be trellising those up this, and that's kind of all I need to do there. And then I'll probably spray with some BT so that I can hopefully ward off any vine borers early in the season. There's a pepper in here that's actually doing pretty good. It's just being clobbered by this pumpkin at the moment, so I need to fix that. Let's see, this pepper's doing pretty good, and then this one's not doing so good. So again, I don't know if it's a watering thing or a soil thing, but I'm just gonna leave it. So, oh, here's another okra that's just like, ugh, gross. So I just want this all out of the garden. Back over here, let's see. So the tomatoes over here are doing pretty well. I don't know if you can see them mixed in with the eggplant, but they're going pretty well. I have some that are actually ripe. But this eggplant is like clobbering them. And I don't know if you can see, I have a whole bunch of eggplants in there as well, and they're pretty bug infested. So I was gonna try to keep these through the fall, but I really want to have space for the tomatoes, and I want to get those bugs out of my garden. So I might pull the eggplants. I'm undecided at the moment. But here's the other tomato that's getting towards the top, so I might need to take these shade cloths off pretty soon. This tomato's looking pretty good. It's shorter than the others, but doing fine. And then there's the other tomato here, which is the one that is most affected by this big eggplant that toppled over. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm just gonna remove these. I'm a little undecided. I might just cut them back a lot and see what the new growth does, but that's the plan at the moment. So take these eggplants out, make sure these tomatoes are tied up really well, harvest all of those. I already harvested a couple of them last night when I got home. These sweet potato vines are doing really well. This one has grown a lot since I left, which was surprising. They were kind of struggling a bit when I left, but they look pretty good. Everything in here looks pretty good. Blackberry is still putting out new growth. Lemon is putting out new growth, so that's fantastic. And then the final thing over here is these sunflowers are definitely done. So these will need to come out as soon as possible. But yeah, so essentially everything, did pretty well. I just need to consider different trellising methods for the tomatoes, and then take out everything that is either dead or really bug infested, and then get this area ready to be a new planting area. And that's about it. So I'll go ahead and start doing those things. I'll try to film them, but I'm probably going to do it over the next several nights, so it'll be a couple different days of doing things. But yeah, that's the plan. Alright, I am finished with day 1 of cleaning everything up. So I took out the 2 sunflowers here. I took out most of this eggplant, but I did keep a little bit of it because it does have some eggplants on it and didn't have too many bugs. And these I can kind of direct away from the tomatoes. So I'm going to leave this and see how it does. But I did remove the entire other eggplant just because it was so bug ridden and really getting in the way of all of these tomatoes. So I did end up getting, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 eggplants from that plant, including the ones that I harvested yesterday. So pretty good yield anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna tie up these tomatoes a little bit better, and hopefully now with that eggplant out of the way, these will start to become a bit more strong. Alright, much more to do, but it's getting late, so that's it for today. Alright, it is a new day, and I've decided I'm just going to take everything out of this bed, the bed where the okra is. I'm going to take everything out of that. There's just too many bugs in there, and I want them out of the garden. So I'm going to clear all of that out today. And then also it's been a bit cloudy and cooler, so I'm going to go ahead and take the shade cloth off of the 3 raised beds. The tomatoes in the right bed are starting to get to the top, so I want to make sure that they have room to grow, and I just don't think it's needed anymore. We have 1 or 2 hot days coming up, but I think they're mature enough that they can handle that, so I'm going to take that off today as well, and then maybe attach the pumpkins to the trellis if I have some time. So yeah, I'm going to start on that now. Also, I'm using these Farmer's Defense sleeves. You can see mine have gotten a ton of use. They were white when I bought them, but these are really nice for protecting your arms from the sun, and then also from like scratchy okra and things that you're taking out of your garden or you're harvesting. So highly recommend these. Why I've decided not to keep any of this, like it's all over the plants. Gross. There you have it, all cleaned out. That was a lot, but I'm feeling a lot better having the bugs out of the garden, just starting fresh in the fall. So it's getting a little dark, but I'm still going to try to take the shade cloth off of these, and then we'll see how dark it is after that. If it's still light out, I'll try to get these trellised, otherwise I'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, feeling a lot better. Alrighty, done with that, and I think I still have some daylight to trellis the pumpkins, so I'll do that next. Alright, hopefully I can get them all up. I'm a little unsure because some of them are so big already, especially the one over here. So I'll just try my best and we'll see what we can do. Alright, there we go. It looks a little wonky right now just because the leaves were used to growing in a different direction, but these will kind of like even out over the next couple of days. So I have the two Jacoby little pumpkins on the right here. Hold on, sorry. There we go. The one on the right has two vines, which I have going up now, and then this one right here is the second vine, or second plant I should say, and then these two little ones over here, which actually there was this vine that was growing over here which I thought was the daisy gourd, but there's actually just two very small little daisy gourd plants right there. So those will have a bit more sunlight now, a little more room to grow, and these should all start growing up the trellis from now on. And that is all I'm gonna do today. So day 2 done, still a little bit more to go, but feeling a lot better about the state of things now. Alright, it is Saturday, which means I have the full day to work in the garden today. So I'm just about done cleaning everything up. I've got a few other scrap plants around that I need to pick up, and then I might pull a few more things. Like I'm thinking of pulling the zinnias. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. And then I'm going to pull out the basil that's in the middle of this bed here because it's starting to kind of topple over and not look as great. So I might leave one in, but I think I'm going to take the rest out. And then I'm not happy with my current tomato trellising system. So I have these strings that tie to the top of this frame here and then go down to the base of the tomato. This worked really well when I was single stemming them, but because I'm letting these branch in the fall, it's been too much to support. I had another string break, if you can see that one there. So I'm gonna do essentially what I did with the basil and set up a Florida weave system with these. So it's essentially just taking two posts and putting them on either end and then running string between them. So you can see I did this with the basil here, and these go to the wood post on the other side. You can't see it because it's behind the basil, but yeah, this should help keep these upright and keep all of their branches supported as well. So that's, I think, the last big thing that I need to do to clean up the garden, and then I'll be pretty much good to go. My next project is going to be to expand the garden into this. You can see the grass goes in and then back out. That's not getting water because I don't want to run the sprinklers into the garden, so that is dying, and I don't I don't mind more planting space anyway, so we're just gonna expand the garden all the way over there. So that will be another video that you'll see next. But today I'm gonna get these trellised, everything else cleaned up, and that'll be about it. I cleared out the basil that I'm going to clear out. I left one plant over here because it still looks pretty good, and I'm about to have tomatoes that I would like to use to make some sauces, so I'll want my basil for that. Whoops. So now I'm going to trellis the tomatoes. Alright, so this is how it's looking now. I've got 4 strings on the front and 4 on the back. They're a little wonky just because ideally you would do this like as the plant is growing. So when it's still small, you would put in the first string, and then as it grows, you add more and more and more. So I'll keep adding strings as these get taller. I'll probably have to go back and tighten a few because as I added the upper strings, the ones near the bottom got a little bit loose. So but yeah, I think this is going to be a better system than what I was doing. So all I got to do now is cut the old strings that are tied to the top of the frame, and that'll be done. Here's a closer look. I'll take you around the side. There we go. So yeah, supported on both sides. All I need to do is do the same thing for these tomatoes, and then I think I'm going to do the same thing here for these 2 tomatoes as well. But yeah, I feel more confident in this, and if one string breaks, I can pretty easily replace it, and it's not going to bring the whole plant down. So there we go. That took a little longer than expected, but here is how the tomatoes are looking now. I feel a whole lot better about this system, so hopefully it works well, and I'll just do this going forward. And the ones over here are looking way better as well. These were, let me see, super flopped over, but now they are strung all the way up there. I think that's about all I needed to get done in the garden. I took the zinnias out, found a little family of frogs living in there, so hopefully they relocate. And I think that's about it. So this is what we're looking like. I'm gonna get started on the new planting area over here tomorrow, but like I said, that'll be a separate video, so here we go.